What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Protect Our Queens podcast, presented by Basketball Society. With me, as always, my brother in Christ, my partner in women's basketball crime, Martin Sories, my boy. Happy Thursday. How we feeling?
What's up, my guy? Good people. Good to have you here. Welcome to Protect Our Queens. I know. There's a lot going on. It's a lot of weirdo behavior, a lot of drama going on. But for those of you who are really tapped in, who are in the comments on these videos, tapping in during the live chat on the show, you know that here on Protect Our Queens, you are welcome as a safe space for basketball fans. Just by being a women's basketball fan, all you're admitting is that you're just a basketball fan. And those are the kind of people we embrace here. We appreciate you for tapping in live or on the playback. We got some championship stuff to talk about tonight. Playoffs are around the corner. It's time to talk big business tonight. We're talking about the whole enchilada. We're getting down to the nitty gritty tonight.
We are. We're going to talk about the Lynx. Martin and I both believe the Lynx are the odds-on favorites in the championship right now. We're going to talk about them a little bit. I asked Martin a question about the Fever and the Valkyries. We're going to unpack that a little bit tonight. DB signed with the Dream. We're going to talk about that in just a couple of moments here. And to kick it all off, ESPN released its top 50 players in the WNBA according to this season. And there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, shout out to Fee for missing 27 games and being 7th on the list. Shout out to Fee. Love to see that. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
It's weird though having her above Kelsey Mitchell when she's missed that much time. That's weird. It's weird when we do our top 10s, when we rank our top 10 players and do our top 10 lists, we use the injury caveat. Like we tend to prefer not including players who either haven't been active, right, or just aren't active, or like they've missed so much time that it kind of like hurts their case to say that they're top 10 right now. So that was a little eye-opening, though, to have Fee that high above players like a Kelsey Mitchell. I mean,
I'm surprised Taylor McBride is at 20.
Ooh, I think that's I didn't see that.
Not gonna lie to you. I think that's just a teensy bit egregious.
Didn't notice that. That could, she could be, especially the way she's been playing lately.
Yeah.
And again, with like Kelsey Plum missing a lot of time, she's at 13. It's like that. Yeah, I don't always like that.
Shout out to Kiki Rice, DMV native.
Okay, where's she at?
50. She's at 49.
49, okay.
I don't know if I would have her ahead of Flage, but shout out to Kiki for making the list. Gotta show love to Kiki.
Good point.
Can we just also talk about for a second Shakira Austin?
Ooh, where's she? I saw her in 15, top 15.
Right above Jess Shepard, right behind Angel Reese.
Yeah.
This is a player that I said was going to be great this year. She stayed healthy. She's in the most improved player conversation, bro.
For sure.
And
that's a good one.
I think she has an outside chance of making that all WNBA second team.
Ooh.
I really do. I think with the way that she's been playing lately, the Mystics have been they had a couple bumps in the road lately, but for the most, they had a great July. They've had a pretty good August so far. Like Shakira Austin's look great. I think she has like it's gonna be tight, but I think she's got an outside chance to be on that all WNBA second team. But yeah, this top 50 list, a lot of people are saying right this, like, here, don't take this seriously. We're not taking it seriously, really.
Yeah.
We're just giving our reactions.
Yeah. Shout out to AT getting respect right outside the top 10. Yeah. Like, I think that's nice and respectful of them to acknowledge her there.
Sydney Taylor, top 40, right at 40. Shout out to Sydney Taylor. And you know what's interesting, bro? I like the Natisha Heidemann love here, too. She's at 36, it looks like.
Okay.
36. So shout out to Natisha Heidemann. She's had a pretty good. But yeah, this is interesting. I saw this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I originally said this to Martin because Caitlin Clark being at 2, I think is nuts. And that's
Chelsea
why
Gray top 20. Chelsea Gray top 20. That's good.
Yeah,
good. A little bit of respect there.
It's gonna be interesting, man. These last couple games of it's odd. There's like 5 games at most in the rest of the season, but we're gonna miss a couple weeks because of FIBA. So like the season's gonna go on a little bit longer. Only a couple games left though. And a big impact on these last couple of games. DeWanna Bonner going to the Atlanta Dream. She got bought out by the Mercury. Coach Nate Tibbett said, we're doing out of respect for DB. Let's give her a chance to win a championship. I will say, as an Aces fan, this is the second year in a row that I thought the Aces could have and should have gotten DeWanna Bonner, and we didn't. And I'm going to hold on to it because I do want to talk about this a little bit later, but just your initial thoughts to DB signing with the Dream.
This was the best move. The two teams I thought Vegas was an obvious one. Delissa Smith is out now. We'll talk about the Aces in a little bit. Like with her out, if they could have anticipated that, like, I don't know how strong they went for DeWanna, but especially with Liz out, like I felt like the Aces made sense. I felt like the Liberty made sense. And I definitely thought Atlanta made sense. To be honest, bro, for many people, this should make Atlanta more of a favorite to win it all. Like this to me is almost as significant as adding Angel. Like it's very similar to me. Obviously, DeWanna's past her prime, not looking at her as being obviously like a primary play, but just the role that she can play on this team, still being able to score the ball and get buckets on a team that doesn't need her to be the primary wing scorer. Like I've been saying, it's this flaw with aging players that are still productive. I've talked about this on the NBA side with our LeBrons and our KDs and our Stephs. It gets harder. It's a great story because they're still very productive past their prime and at this old age, but it makes it even harder to figure out how to still compete with them. And it makes it harder to not treat them like they're still your best player. DeWanna Bonner has had to be like the main primary wing scorer for Phoenix. It's one of the things I mentioned about their flaw with how they lost in the finals last year. Like DB and DeWanna can anchor you, sure, but you can't be relying on her to be your main go-to wing scorer. She doesn't have to be that in Atlanta. Again, I see a lot of similarities to how we talked about Angel joining Atlanta with DeWanna. It's a different dynamic, but I find real similarities there. And I think what she can still do as a reserve, she's playing with two other elite wing scorers. She don't have to act like the best wing scorer, but she can still be her. And what she does contributes to what I think Atlanta could use, especially off the bench. This is the kind of move that has me thinking more about picking Atlanta to win it all. Seriously. Like she's the kind of piece that I think gives them like another new edge.
I would not start DeWanna Bonner over Naz Hillman because the Dream averaged the second worst points per game from their bench in the WNBA. It's like 17.2 points per game or something like that. So I would just have her come off the bench and just supplement that because, and honestly, she's probably going to be playing starter minutes off the bench anyway. Like she's not going to be coming off the bench playing like 10, 15 minutes. Like they'll probably give her 20 minutes or more. She'll share the floor with Ryan. She'll share the floor with Alicia Gray. Like she'll be on the floor with those other players from the starting unit. But you don't want to move Naz Hillman to the bench because Naz Hillman fits like her game now where it's at right now. You need her to play off of Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard, and like you need her to play in that starting unit. DB, like you said, like DB's game at this point, not in her prime. She's almost 40. Like you don't need her to be out there with the starters because she would do more coming off the bench and kind of, giving you a little bit extra off the bench. But I do agree with you. I do think this is going to be interesting. We are going to talk about Atlanta towards the end of the show tonight, so make sure you're tapped in. But as Martin said to kick it off, we are talking about the whole enchilada. All 8 spots in the playoffs have been decided. The seeding has not. But Martin and I put together a WNBA Championship Bubble. We're going to unpack that. Do not change the dial. Stay tapped in. Join the conversation. Protect Our Queens starts now.
Protect our queens.
Do you practice this? Was this spur of the moment?
They put the ether beat on this.
I started paying attention to women's basketball in a way that I never had before.
Now, crossover, she has all that in her bag.
I just think that Paige is more well-rounded on both sides of the ball.
It's all about her feel for the game, bro.
All of these girls seem like a WA guy that got a turnaround fade in the paint.
We don't need 7 games. We didn't need 6 games. We didn't need 5 games. 4.
The Aces might need more than 4 games this year, but we'll get there. The 2026 WNBA Championship Bubble. As you can see here, these are all 8 teams. The further or the closer to the middle of the bubble you get, obviously, the more likely it is that we think that you can win a championship. As you can see there, Minnesota Lynx, smack dab in the middle of the blue. They are our favorites to win a championship right now. And Martin, that kind of begs the question, and you alluded to this a little bit, we were kind of preparing for the show. You go back to 2 years ago, they were in the WNBA Finals against the Liberty. Very unfortunate Game 5, just didn't go their way. They lose a championship. Last year, they get hurt. Fee gets hurt against Phoenix. They don't make it out this year. And these are 2 years where the number 1 seed. Third year in a row now, the Minnesota Lynx are the number 1 seed in the WNBA in the regular season. What do you think is the biggest hurdle they're going to need to overcome in the postseason to actually get the job done this year?
I think it's just themselves. And when I say that, I mean, like, they have a very interesting dynamic in that they are fully bought in on letting their all-time great rookie lead them. And as much of an anomaly and as outstanding as Olivia Miles has been, she is still a rookie. This is still her first playoff run. And yeah, I alluded to that in our prep where you didn't have to give it away before I got into it, but that's okay. I just think the last 2 years, Minnesota has been here. And that's part of what people have been knocking Liv for, as far as like, oh, she went to a team with a great coach. She went to a team that was already great, that was already a championship contender, and they try to use that to knock her. And I'm certainly not doing that here. All I'm saying is now is the time where the pressure will kind of mount a little bit more for Liv, because now during this playoff run, she will be expected to elevate her game to the level where it shows that she is the difference now to getting them to win the title. They've been knocking on the door the last 2 years. 2 years ago, they came a play away from winning against New York. Last year, Fee goes down. So they've had these like disappointing endings. And, you know, we've seen some of the sample size with Liv and Fee together. As we expected, they're still elite, right? For me, I think that's the biggest storyline. It's seeing how their all-time great rookie can lead them in scenarios that she hasn't been in yet. Right? Like, that's so much about like these playoff situations. And that's when I look at these teams and I think about who I think I've watched that looks like, okay, they're going to be able to win it and tough it out. It's that last part. It's toughing it out. It's, do you have the weapons? Do you have the toughness? Do you have, you know, obviously the defense, like all the little things, but like, I think Minnesota is going to be very interesting to watch to see, like, can they put it together? Because it's not that it's all on Liv, but they've been right there. And now they're kind of entrusting Liv to really be the difference in leading them to where they haven't been able to get it done the last 2 years. And now the Rook is going to have to lead them there. So I think that's the kind of biggest hurdle, is that their best player, MVP candidate, is their least experienced in these situations.
I hear you. I think that all makes sense. I think you've outlined it extremely well. I don't know if there's anything that the Lynx have to overcome necessarily to win a championship. Like, I look at them offensively. I think they're still going to be great. They're still going to be consistent offensively. Defensively, this has been one of the best defenses in the league all year long, right? Like, I don't expect that to change. You have a coach in Cheryl Reeve who has been here so many times. She's won 4 of them. Like, she knows what it takes. And while I hear your point about, you know, Liv probably in context is the biggest hurdle because she's a rookie, right? Having to be the player for the first time, it is a lot to ask. If there's a coach, though, that, or a coaching staff, really, but just a coach who can still get the best out of her, despite her being in a lot of these, like, unfamiliar situations, it would be the Minnesota Lynx. Like, I have no doubt that the coaching staff will do what they can to mitigate a lot of those very valid concerns that you brought up. But when I sit there and I say, like, I don't know if there's really going to be anything they have to truly overcome, it's because they've just been far and away the best team in the league all year long, where if you think about these last 2 years, it has taken something truly unexpected and truly out of left field for them to not get the job done, right?
Yeah.
24, just terrible officiating, if we want to be honest. Just bad officiating in that game 5. Cost them a championship. Fine. Against the Mercury, a freak accident injury against, with Fee, where remember they played another game after that. So Fee doesn't get hurt. We don't know how that series unfolds. So it's freak
to be fair though, just remembering that series, Phoenix had their even before Fee got hurt, it wasn't looking great for Minnesota.
It wasn't looking great for Minnesota.
It wasn't. Phoenix was roughing them up. They seemed to have their number either way. But,
yeah, they definitely look like, but the who knows kind of. We've seen a lot of times,
they would have had a much better chance with Fee than without her.
Absolutely. So all I'm saying is when I look at it from that perspective, it's you still you're still checking all the same boxes we checked the last 2 years. I think now the question becomes, can they, I guess in a way, expect the unexpected? Is there a potential catastrophe that they could foresee and prevent from happening? To me, what you're talking about with Liv is that catastrophe. This all-time great rookie regular season where we're talking about Olivia Miles as an MVP candidate potentially being undone by just the lights being too bright in the playoffs. How can Minnesota prepare for that so that she's not in those situations? I think that means we're seeing a lot more playing through Fee, probably, most likely. That would be the best way to keep Olivia Miles from hitting the rookie wall or making the rookie mistakes that we haven't really seen her make much at all this season. But again, if you're the Lynx, you're we've been here this is the 3rd year in a row that we have been undeniably or arguably the best team in the league. And it's we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think what they have in their disposal or in their back pocket, unlike the previous 2 years, is I just don't see a team that matches up with them well enough for that other shoe to drop. And I think that honestly could just be what it is.
So yeah, and obviously part of the beauty of their construct is that they have other options. It's not like if Liv, is a dud, they don't have a chance. They can play through Fee. They still got Courtney Williams. You got, even if she's not at her best, they can still compete. So I'm not even saying that. There's also what I'm also not saying, the Liv thing. I'm not just talking about if she doesn't play well. I'm talking about potential injury. She tweaked her foot against, who was it? Golden State, I think a couple of games ago. She played the very next game, but she has had some ankle injury issues before. This is a this is a series, right? This isn't just one game.
Yeah.
That's what I mean with the playoff scenario. I expect her to play. I'm not worried about the lights being too bright. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just basic things that could happen. An injury. Yeah. Maybe she doesn't play well a couple games, but Liv will be fine with that stuff. There are so many things that can happen in a playoff series. It's multiple games. It's wear and tear, and your rookie, who's your best player, is supposed to be leading you. Yeah, you can play through Fee, but even with that, what they probably need to win the title is to look the way they've looked all season, which is Liv being Liv, all their big 4 being their big 4. Essentially, all 4 of them, right? They don't all 4 have to go nuclear every game, but all 4 have to be in rhythm and present and active, right? All 4 of them have to be on it. I will say, when you talk about matchups, a second round matchup with Atlanta I think that would be the most intriguing test for a Minnesota, because I think about Angel and Fee. I think about obviously the two wings, Alicia and Ryan, and it's Courtney and Kayla, right? If you talk about matchup wise, Atlanta in the second round, I feel body for body matchups. That's probably where we learn okay, which one of these teams is ready to, right? I think that's a matchup that tells us a lot, because you think about toughness, you think about scoring, two-way play. You need to check a lot of boxes to really challenge Minnesota. Atlanta's probably the most equipped to do it as far as on both ends of the floor.
I think they are on paper, but it requires a level of consistency that I don't think we've seen from them quite yet. you know. So
And
like
that's what we get from Minnesota. It feels like a little more than Atlanta is like the consistency that they hang their hat on that. It seems more
because I agree with you. Like on paper, like they should be. I mean, they're outside of Minnesota probably the most complete team in the playoff field. I would argue. Like there's no real glaring holes. Like we'll talk about. You know, they're going to come up later, but you know, like Indiana's got a defense thing. The Golden State's got the offense thing. Vegas is depth as far as their bench and defense. New York is consistency and depth. Like Atlanta, they've got all this. Like they've got all the players, they've got the coaching, they've got the offense, they've got the defense. It's just we don't always know what version of the dream we're going to get on any given night. And like that just in and of itself could be like, even if the Lynx don't look like the Lynx in a Minnesota-Atlanta series, if Minnesota is just like consistently good, I mean, say great, they're just consistently good for a series, and Atlanta's like up and down, you know what I mean? Like just the Lynx just kind of being meh could get them through. And that's not like to disrespect Atlanta. That's just we've seen them have like really high highs, and they've had like some low lows this season. Hopefully, DB's presence can help mitigate some of that as far as the bench is concerned. The last thing I'll say on Minnesota is the only other, I guess, and again, this is like a really big thing. The only other issue that I could see coming up with them is, and this kind of goes into this question, but it's not like Olivia Miles specifically. The last 2 times we've seen the Lynx get sent home, those series have been very physical series. Like
facts.
The Phoenix series last year was a very physical series.
Yeah.
The finals against New York 2 years ago was a very physical series. So it's like, could that be their undoing? It's just like the physicality of postseason basketball too much for them, right? Like, could that be because they're so used to kind of being the physical team in the regular season, but then when things slow down in the postseason, sometimes not able to match it, and that would be consistent. That's kind of like the only thing where I'm like, with Atlanta, that could work in Atlanta's favor because we know that Atlanta can play physical basketball and be successful in that. They like to muck it up a little bit.
Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking about. And I think when you look at Atlanta, they're a type of team that seems that they're big on like energy. Their energy captain is Angel Reese, and we know how she gives it up. Like she, you know what I mean? Like they seem to want to take pride in like, I don't think they've become yet like a bad boy Pistons team, but I think that's what like Angel gives them some of that energy of like, we're going to go at you. We are going to try to be physical with you. Jordan Canada is going to be up in Olivia Miles trying to make life hard for, like, they're going to take pride in their matchups. The interesting part about the physicality thing with Minnesota, because they do a good job imposing physicality. But when you really look at it and think about it, like teams can be physical with it's not like they are the biggest, baddest, most physical team. Like their starting 2 guard is Courtney Williams, bro. Like she's my size. Like she's not some like, you know what I mean? Like they don't come off super physical and imposing. It's not like they've got this big lineup, right? So the physicality of the playoffs is part of what I talked about with just like Liv and just, something we still have to see it in that setting. I think she'll be fine, but I think that's the big storyline is that their rookie who could be an MVP, the best way for her to really validate this all-time great rookie season would be to go ahead and make a title run. But that's something we're going to have to see. And that's something they'll have, she's going to be figuring out in real time.
We're going to take a step just outside of the bubble. We're still in the bubble, but we're going to look a little bit outside. We're going to talk about the Valkyries and the Fever, who are sitting on the edge of our championship bubble. And I asked Martin over text, which is concerning? The Fever's inconsistency on defense or Golden State's inconsistency on offense? But before we jump into that, let's go back to, I've said a lot of harsh things about the Indiana Fever over the course of the season. This is just one of those things. You have to win a championship with Caitlin Clark on your team. And if you have 3 players who are certainly top 15, I think they're all top 10. They're all top 15 players in the league for sure.
Yeah.
You got 3 top 15 players on your team.
Yeah.
You can't even appear in a WNBA finals. We've got issues. So
I don't think that was that harsh.
the Fever lovers thought it was harsh. So whatever. Look, I'll put it this way. Now, this is
you gotta stop treating them like the
black sheep of the WNBA family.
No, you gotta stop taking them seriously. The ignorant ones. Stop caring about what they think. Like, who cares that I said it wasn't that harsh. I don't care what that's what I said.
Big Bro said it's not that harsh.
That's the end of that.
Well, so here's my thing. Here's my thing with the Fever, right? The Fever have been historic offensively, right? They have had 18 games this season, I believe, where they scored over 100 points, the most ever, right? You've got a trio in Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell that is averaging the most points by a trio in a single season in league history. You've got a backcourt in Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell that is undeniably the best backcourt in the league. They are also breaking a bunch of records in the backcourt and setting records. Like, this is an historically great offense. My concern and why I think the Fever's lack of defense is more concerning than Golden State's lack of offense is because we've seen the Valkyries this season beat playoff teams because of their defense. We've seen them beat Indiana with defense. We've seen them beat Minnesota with defense. I do not believe they've beat the Aces this season, but they've played the Aces pretty tough, made them uncomfortable. Like, we've seen the Valkyries find success without like the go-to scorer or the superstar offense player that maybe some of these other teams have in the playoff field. When it comes to the defense of the Fever, we've seen the Fever lose shootouts. Like, we have seen that happen. And every team in the playoffs, I think, except for the Valkyries, although the Valkyries have done it, I think are good enough offensively and consistent enough offensively where if they ever get into a shootout with the Fever, I don't think it's just a wash, right? Like, I think they'd have a chance. I do. I think they'd have a chance.
Every single playoff team you think could win a shootout with Indiana.
The Wings have won a shootout with Indiana. That was the first game of the season. We saw them do that. And I think they had another like high scoring game a couple weeks ago. They won that game too. I think Minnesota can beat Indiana in a shootout. I think the Mystics can do it. They've done it this season. The Mystics have played the Fever close every game but one, I think, this year. Two of them in the span of like a week went down to the last possession, and one of them ended up going overtime. So, like, I think the Mystics can do it should they match up with them. I think Atlanta can do it. Again, that's a consistency thing, but Atlanta certainly has the ability to do it. The only two teams who I'm kind of like, I don't know, is Golden State, because they don't have like a go-to scorer. So, like, with them, it will be more so a matter of can they mitigate the Fever offensively and just do enough with themselves. And then the Aces, and the only reason why I have a question mark for the Aces is because we don't really have a bench, because our entire bench is hurt right now. But like all the other teams, if you're just saying shootout, like I don't think there's a team that I'm looking at definitively and saying, yeah, the Fever can just be average defensively and just shoot the lights out of the building and get the job done. Now, don't get me wrong. When they're hot, like we just watched them against the Sky, Caitlin and Kelsey both had 6 threes. Like they by themselves were responsible for 12 of, I think, their 18 threes that game. Now, granted, that's a Sky. Take it with a grain of salt. It's like we know they can get to that level and it's like it's unmatched, but just at face value, I'm not looking at the Fever as this unbeatable team in the playoffs just off the strength of their, because at the end of the day, you're going to have to get a stop. Even with scoring more points than your opponent, you still have to get a stop. I just think I have more confidence in the consistency of the Valkyries. They always, bro, it's like they've always seemed to find a way to like hang in there until the right moment and then strike. You know what I mean? And then it's like sometimes it's Veronica Burton, sometimes it's Gabby Williams, sometimes it's Caitlin Chin. That's not like a championship recipe. I don't think they're going to win a championship like this. That's certainly not the case. But I was raised defense wins championships, and I just refuse to believe that the Fever are going to win a championship on the backs of scoring 100 points a night throughout the course of the playoffs. I don't think that's sustainable, and I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is like if the Indiana Fever are at their best offensively, and if Golden State is at their best defensively, their strong points. I'm not focusing on the weak points yet, but like which would be more which version of that team do you think would actually win the title? Now, you need offense and defense. Let's just clear that up right away. Obviously, in basketball, you need both. To win a championship, you need some of both. Okay. We are in an offensive era and an offensive league. And for me, it would be way more surprising if the Valkyries won a championship than if Indiana did. However they do it. It would be way more surprising.
No, I agree.
Because the Valkyries would probably be winning it on mostly defense. Like, I don't have as much faith in the whole, like, when you say, like, one, it could be this person, it could be like, yeah, they have good players. I know who they have. But it's not as potent as Atlanta or Indiana or even New York for that matter, where like you are confident in who can go out there and get a bucket for them. I like their players. They have good players. Like, I really like Janelle Salon. Every time I watch them, I'm telling my brother, like, she's the one who could be really good on this team. I find it hard to think of a scenario where I've watched them too many times where, yeah, they can hang in there, and you talk about they strike. I don't see a strike as much, bro. I don't. It's just me. Like, I don't see them kick it into a gear where they like, I see them, when they're hitting shots and it's going, yeah, everyone looks good when that's the case. But I don't see a natural inclination to manufacture offense from that team. And in these playoff settings, that is one of the main things that you need. Yeah, defense wins championships. Like, you can hang your hat on that if you want. But if we're taking the way the league is right now, who the champions have been the last 5 years, the trend of the league, like, you got to score points, man. You got to score points. They score under 80 points. They score 80 points a game, bro. That's not getting it. That's not winning a championship. It's not.
Well,
I'm not saying giving up 90 points is winning a championship for the Fever defense, but I think it's more likely that Indiana can get stops defensively when they need to and still be dynamic offensively than the Valkyries turn into like this offensive like machine and still maintain their defensive greatness.
Well, I don't think either of these teams are going to win a championship this season. If I had to pick, I would certainly pick Indiana over Golden State. Like, I agree with that. I'm more so saying, like, when it comes to Golden State, down the stretch of games, it's really weird. When the game slows down on offense, it's not great for them. When it slows down on defense, though, it is great for them. And like, when I say strike, it's not like, oh, they just like snap and everything starts working like half court. They probably have the worst half court offense of all the playoff teams. They probably do. I don't know. It's either them or Atlanta statistically. Like, it's really close. But like, I mean more so as far as like stringing stops together, turn those into points. That's where they excel. My thing with the Fever and why I'm harping on their defense so much, I recognize they have their defense, and this, I will admit, I'm not going to say it has a lot to do with Caitlin, but like, she's a part of it. Like, their effort defensively overall has gotten better over the course of the season. And a large part of that's like with Caitlin because Caitlin has gotten better slightly defensively just with her effort, which is something we talked about.
Part of it is that zone.
Yes, that is part of it. That is part of it too. That is part of it too. But I think before the Aces last season, I want to say the last 5 or 6 WNBA champions had a defensive rating by the end of the season that was like top 6. The Aces defensive rating last year was 10th. The Fever's defensive rating this year right now is 11th. So when I'm saying like the defense is a concern, what I'm saying is like, yes, historically, all like really great potent offenses win championships, but also not that great porous defenses don't, except for the Aces last season. And so think about their road. Like, they're looking at, like, right now, the Dream in the first round, and then they would likely have to face the Lynx in the second round just to get to the finals. Yeah. You're not beating both of those teams with a defense that gives up 111 points a game or whatever they're at right now as far as like
111.
It's not 111. It's not 111. That's their defensive rating. Their defensive rating is 111. They don't give 111 points a game. That's the wrong number.
I gave you the number. It's 90.
I know you did. I don't even know why I just said that. When you give up 90 points a game, you're not beating the Lynx giving up 90 points a game. You're probably not going to beat the Dream giving up 90 points a game. So like, that's more so where I'm at. Well, like with the Valkyries, it's like, I know they can find it
unless you're scoring 92.
unless you're scoring 92, sure. But also like
right.
Yes, unless you're scoring 92. That's a great point.
But you're probably right. Like if you're giving up 90, more likely than not, you're probably not like you're not the title team. Like,
yeah, I think
probably. But if they're gonna be this all-time great, if they're gonna validate themselves as an all-time great offensive team, what did you text me recently when you forgot what happened in 2007? It was either 07 or 09.
Well, I didn't forget what happened in 07. You gotta remember I was
four. Fair. Fair.
But no, I had asked you if this is the first time that if the Fever would be the first team that could prove offense wins championships. And then I remembered, no, that was that 06 or was that 07 Phoenix Mercury?
07.
So we've seen it before. I mean, so it is like we have seen it 20 years ago. We have seen it before. But this is my other thing too. Like, I don't even know if averaging 90 plus points a game offensively is sustainable come postseason time either. Like, that's the other part.
It might not be. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying if they might, like, if that's what they do, right? Yeah. Like, they have a chance to validate themselves they average 96 a game. Like, they're already established as the most dynamic, prolific regular season offensive team of all time. If they carry that into the playoffs, that's all I'm saying. That version of them could be averaging, like, who knows, 91, 92 points a game. It could be enough, we'll see, but that's all I'm saying. They have more of an ace in their hole with their offense than I think the Valkyries do with their defense. It's a very good defense. I would agree with. I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see their defense as being so great that it's like, man,
yeah,
they're good. No one can take them out. Like, I think Indiana has a different kind of edge with their offense.
I mean, and then even just slightly be above that, like we've seen brighter spots defensively for the Fever. We'll say this last month than we have the Valkyries offensively. So like that even, and I do acknowledge that. I'm just thinking about it from the standpoint of how we've kind of seen these playoff series pan out the last couple of years, as far as the way things have slowed down, the physicality, the increase of intensity. I just feel like that would work. But at the end of the day, you're going to be in positions where you need to go get a bucket, and the Valkyries need to figure out sooner rather than later who that's going to be. I don't know. And
to your point, I mean, we are going to find out. That's what I can't wait for with these playoffs. The first round is going to tell us a lot. If Indiana, the version of Indiana that takes out Atlanta in the first round, like, they'll be ready for Minnesota. That will be a heavy matchup, Indiana and Minnesota. Like, right? Like, if they manage to take out the Lynx, that probably signals that that's the version of them that will look like they're ready to win the whole thing. So we are going to learn a lot in the first round.
Let's go back to the bubble. We've got these three other teams who are in the bubble: the Aces, the Dream, and the Liberty. And I just want to say,
you said on the edge. The Valkyries are very clearly on the edge. Indiana's in the bubble. Let's clear that up. New York is on the edge. The Valkyries are on the edge. Fever are very clearly, I placed these very specifically, people. Indiana's in the bubble. As you see, Atlanta is in the bubble. They're close to the edge, but they're in the bubble.
I meant to say they're close to the edge. My bad. I meant to say
close to the edge. Yeah.
These other three teams, I just want to say this real quick. I'm sorry. I don't want to completely ignore. I wouldn't be a DC boy if I didn't just point out the fact that this Washington Mystics team that is currently slated to face the Golden State Valkyries we just talked about in the first round, that is a team that I think we should be just a little bit more scared of. But
so here's the thing. Look, the Valkyries defense is good enough to take out the Mystics without having to average 85 points a game. Like, I respect and I love your Mystic. I love what they got going. But we've got a whole season of a sample size on us now. We can be like just straight up about what we see, what we don't see. Do they look better? Yes. Love Shakira Austin. Love Sony. Love Kiki. Love what they got going. I still don't see like full on conviction to just say, "Yep, they can upset the Valkyries." Like they still have to prove it. They still have to show it.
You think so?
Yeah, bro. They're not Minnesota. They're not Vegas. They don't
have to be Minnesota or Vegas, but it's the Valkyries.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, teams like that are where I say the Valkyries they'll compete, but they got no chance.
Okay.
The Valkyries can take out the Mystics with their
No, they
defense. Like
can.
they can
probably will. But I'm
clamp
just
the
saying,
Mystics.
like,
They can
that's
make
not-
that a low scoring drag out series, and that's the kind of series they can win.
That's true. That's true. These other three teams, though, Vegas, Atlanta, New York, they each have something that they need to overcome. I kind of alluded to it earlier. The Aces, they've got a depth of the defense issue. The Dreams seem to have a bit of a consistency issue, and the Liberty, who also have a consistency issue, also have a bit of a health issue, although they are kind of getting healthier as the playoffs are progressing. Let's go back, though, to when Martin was talking about what would be required of Angel Reese specifically if the Atlanta Dream wanted to compete for a championship this season.
I think they'll be really good, and I think they have the potential, but I still have to see, and a lot of it, honestly, is on Angel. Even though she's in a great situation where she doesn't have to be the star player, the number one option, the number one, like, much better situation for her. It's still set up where, I mean, on paper, she's their best post player, which isn't a bad thing, but she's going to have to produce at a certain level and play at a certain level for this team to be considered a true title contender. I don't think it's just going to be like, just do what you do. I think she still has to elevate her game a bit to help take this team to help elevate this team to true title contender. I just have to see it first. Yo, if you guys are watching live, we appreciate you. Make sure you click like on the video. Click like. It helps the video perform, helps the channel do well, and leave a comment down below. Join the conversation in the comments. We like to hear what you guys have to say, even if Marcus doesn't always put your comment on screen. It's okay. He doesn't have any preferential bias.
I don't
at all.
I get it's ADHD. I'm sorry. I don't know. Shout out our guy Jeremy Adams. Speaking of the comments,
preferential bias. There you go, right there, Jeremy. That's like right on cue. Thank you, brother. I always see Jeremy. I always see Skeptical. I always see Dan. I'm like, there's got to be more people in here than just our regulars.
Well, they were arguing about Caitlin Clark and stuff, and I didn't.
Come on, let's tap me in, man. I mean, you don't have to. I'm just saying, like, look, I want to know what the people are saying.
Here, look,
I got a lot to say, but the
people are saying the Aces are cooked, and we absolutely are. But we played your clip. I'll give you first crack. Which of these three teams do you think has the biggest hurdle to overcome, and what is that hurdle?
It's Vegas now. Now that Nalissa Smith is down,
yeah,
it's Vegas now. I think New York is very clearly like the dark horse as a 6 seed. And the fact that they may have Vegas in the first round, that is, I don't want to use the word scary, but that can be concerning for Vegas. Again, especially having lost Nalissa Smith. Atlanta just gained. They just added DeWanna Bonner. New York, even though they've been inconsistent, as of late, they seem to be finding a stride again. We can have questions or concerns about their coaching, about, different things with their, but like if they've got Sab, and health, New York, Sab just had a weird something injury come up where she was just out at their latest game or whatever. But yeah, I mean, health has been an issue for the Liberty somewhat throughout the season, but I think they've bounced back and they're still in it. They're going to compete. So I think the biggest hurdle is Vegas, man. Losing Nalissa Smith is huge. Like, that's a huge hit. And now, Asia, Chelsea, and Jackie have to go to another level as a big three to compensate for that. And I think that's the biggest hurdle out of these three teams.
It is so glaringly obvious, the Las Vegas Aces, that it infuriates me. Like, it really does infuriate me. There were times this season when I felt like I was watching last year's Aces over again. Like, we were winning games, but like the defense was still bad. Like, we're still seeing the same defensive issues. The big concern has just been like the depth. Like, Dana Evans has missed time. We haven't seen Janiah Barker play games at all this season, I don't think. We had Kennedy Carter. She's gone now. You know what I mean? Like, this is why the DeWanna Bonner signing would have been so huge for me, because it's like you just need more. When I look at Atlanta, I keep bringing up the consistency piece, but if Angel Reese is going to be playing at this level, the way that she's been playing the last week and a half, 2 weeks, that consistency piece for me is dwindled because now I'm looking at an Atlanta Dream team that really does have 3 different players who can win you a game on any given night, right? Like, because remember when she first got there, I said she could. We have to see what it looks like, but she's done it this season several different times. She has been the reason they've won games. Like, you have that at your disposal now. You have a team in New York who their big issue as far as their consistency is coaching. Like, sometimes it looks like Chris DeMarco doesn't actually know what he's doing, and the team as a whole, the only player who looks like they want to win games is Breonna Stewart. And that's no shot at Sab. That's no shot at JJ. If that's just like the vibe I get at sometimes. But to your point, like, this is a team that has championship DNA, has won a championship, knows what it takes, and they can figure it out even if the coaching is not great. This is a Las Vegas Aces team where, and I said this to you before, I don't even know if they have an ideal opponent. Like, I've joked on here a lot about how, like, you get towards a postseason and teams kind of try to start playing the seeding game. Like, okay, what seed can we get to that gives us the most favorable path to? I don't think there's a number 1 through 8 that the Aces can find where they have like a favorable matchup. I think there's, unless of course they end up with the Mystics or the Wings in the first round, obviously, like, sure. But even then, like, we've struggled with the Wings this season. And yeah, we've beaten the Mystics, but the Mystics have given us a little bit of a run for our money. So it's like, I don't even know for sure if we really want to go that route. You know what I mean? You go to Minnesota, we ain't looked that great. I mean, you know, Minnesota has had our number this year. You look at New York, we talk about them. You look at Atlanta. Atlanta has played us tough. Angel Reese just played probably the best defensive game of her career a couple weeks ago against Asia Wilson. I don't know if you're the Aces really what you can rely on other than just yet another all-time great playoff performance from the big 3, like you mentioned. And even that might not be enough, bro. Like, even all-time greatness from Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray might not be enough for the Aces to just make it to the finals. We're not even talking about repeating. I don't even think repeating is on the table. And if they do repeat, I said it to you before, I'll say it to you again. If they do repeat, I'd be more impressed about that than us winning a championship last year. Like, it's just a lot, bro. Like, this is just one of those years where, like, bad luck, I guess. Like, things just didn't really go the way you needed to go as it was going. And that's unfortunate. But yeah, of these 3 teams, if the Aces got beat in the first round, and I mean, granted, they're playing New York probably, but if the Aces got beat in the first round, like, I would be the least surprised of these 3 teams to lose in the first round. I think I'd be like, yeah, well, I kind of saw the writing on the wall there.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, listen, the 8 teams that are ranked now, the 8 teams in our bubble, they're all good teams. Everyone's good. Like, there are no pushovers, walkovers. Like, obviously, you know, Mystics and Wings at 7 and 8, like, they're the, you know, and, you know, listen, you talk about Dallas' first game of the season. That was a long time. This is a different Dallas team. AZ is out. Like, it's not, everything's not the same. Yeah, the matchup, I don't think there's an ideal matchup for honestly anybody.
Is it the Valkyries? Like, is the Valkyries the ideal matchup for the Aces? Yeah, because they lack the offensive firepower?
No, because the Aces, they can't hang their hat on offensive firepower right now either. Like, yeah, they have Asia and they don't. And, you know, we've got Jackie Young and we got Chelsea Gray and you guys don't. But, like, Golden State is they can scrap that thing out against Vegas, and they don't have the 8. Like, the Kennedy Carter thing was the first, like, that was the first big, like, they lost an edge. She gave them a unique edge, and it didn't pan out, and then that edge has been since taken away. Nalissa Smith going down, like, so they have lost a lot of their edge here, to the point where now the fan favorite is becoming I should have wrote the name down because I want to be respectful, but the little Asian girl, Miyamoto or whatever.
Oh, Miyamoto.
They're eating her up. They're eating her up right now. And she's hooping. I mean, no, she's hooping. Like, it's dope. But it's like, man, if that's what we're having to turn to now, as the next woman up, or as the, you know, like, I don't see repeat happening either. I certainly can't say that watching the Aces, I have this, like, championship feeling of, like, okay, they've got it. But, you know, it's the thing of, like we say with a lot of teams that have the championship experience, like the Warriors, you know, the last few years and stuff. It's like, if they're in, the championship experience caveat. You can't ever count them out, right? And like these games, it's what I talked about at the top with Minnesota. These games get tight. These situations get tight. And, you know, even as you mentioned, a matchup with the Valkyries, right? Like, yeah, I mean, if the game gets tight, I'm still going to prefer and favor Vegas because they've got A'ja Wilson. And we've seen her do it in tight situations so many times. So we're going to trust her more than we trust, you know, Janelle Salon, you know, to get it done. So, you know, they're going to have certain advantages because they still have who they have, but it's not, it's going to be competitive. Nothing is like a foregone conclusion with Vegas or with any of these teams for that matter, in my opinion.
I'm just looking at the bubble and it's like, again, you're looking at a scenario where as it stands right now, they would have the Liberty in the first round. Assuming they beat the Liberty, and let's just chalk it. Let's just say they move on. They would have that date with the Valkyries.
Yeah.
Like that would be their next matchup. And then and then it's like, okay, if you fall, let's say you fall down to 4. That's actually worse. That's worse because you're getting Atlanta or Indiana in the first round, and then you have Minnesota waiting for you in the second round. Like, so you have to beat Minnesota just to get to like it. There's no. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no. I don't. Aside from just let's just be the best us we can be and just feel good going into the play. Like, there's no way that you can kind of slice this and look at this and say, let's give ourselves a more. And you want you like having a playoff field where there's no like easy way out. Like, you definitely like that. And as a fan of the league, as a fan of the sport, I do love that. And as a fan of the Aces, I love it too, because that would mean that we've earned it. But I'm just saying, for the Aces to be in a situation again this season where you're coming into the playoffs and it's like, yeah, you've cleaned some things up, you know what I mean? And you're looking like one of the best teams on paper. And yes, you're the championship advantage, but it's like you still got to play the games.
Yeah.
And if you look at that year last year, we're a Jackie Young tip-in the first round from being bounced in the first round. And then if not for Kelsey Mitchell's body giving out in the second round, we lose to the Fever in 5. You know what I mean? And it just so happened that we had just enough to be able to outmatch the Mercury and sweep them in 4. But so I'm saying that to say, matchup-wise, I know Atlanta can figure it out because their thing is just give me consistent Atlanta Dream basketball. For New York, honestly, I think it's a matter of can we just get their big 3 to look like the big 3 again? Because I think if Sabrina Ionescu and Jonquel Jones play how they played in 2024, I don't think the coaching or the depth becomes much of an issue because I think the 3 of them together are just that good.
Agreed.
With Vegas, though, A'ja, Jackie, and Chelsea can't play 40 minutes a game.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. I just wonder how great they'd have to be for us to be looking at a real repeat. Like, I just wonder.
Yeah.
And to focus it on A'ja, I do wonder what's going through her mind and how she's preparing herself for what she's prepared to do to give her team the best shot to repeat, especially with Nalissa going down. Like, I really wonder how she's thinking about preparing for what level she may need to get to for them to have a real chance, because she may need to go to a really serious, even more elevated than what we've seen level for them to really have a chance to repeat.
And with Nalissa, it's not just the career high field goal percentage. It's not just she spaces the floor. She makes things easier for A'ja on both sides of the ball. So now you're taking that away. Like, I love Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. I love Bree Turner. I think they do their jobs well.
Yeah.
They're not like, even both of them together aren't, I don't think, able to really replicate what Nalissa Smith was getting girls in foul trouble, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean,
that's a big deal.
Yeah. And to think about like how she was playing this season, like what she was producing and contributing this season in particular, because it looked a lot different than last season. She was fine last season and solid, but this season, like you said, the field goal percentage, but I don't even stats matter and they're great. So don't take me to be anti-stats, but like, I also watch the games and I've watched how much different she looks just with her touch around the basket. She gives A'ja that. It's what we talked about when they brought her in last year. It's the front court mate for A'ja that can score, that can space a little bit, that can put the pressure on bigs, right? So it's not all on Asia to do all the producing in the front court. Nalissa stepped into that role beautifully this year.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Asia, Jackie, and Chelsea are on FIBA. But just to bring the bubble back up real quick, because I actually wanted to ask you this question. So the Aces are sending players to FIBA. They've got 4 actually, because Maya's going to Japan. Atlanta has 2 players on the FIBA roster. The Fever's got players. Which of the playoff teams do you think the FIBA break will help the most, and which team do you think it'll hurt the most?
That's a great question, because that's a factor in this. That's a factor in how this run happens for certain teams. The playoffs happen after the FIBA break. So that's a great question. I think it can help Minnesota, because I think it gives Fee more basketball to play, to get her feet under her and get her even better. I mean, she's looked perfectly fine to me, but I think just that experience can only help her get back into her more reps and come back even more like the real Fee. I think it could hurt Indiana and Vegas for just fatigue reasons, because some of their best players are participating, especially Vegas. Like they need to be fresh. They need to be fresh. That really could. And that comment you put on screen is important. That I'm glad that was brought up. That's why we got to look at we got to look through these comments, because people got some good stuff to say. That FIBA thing is an important factor. If that creates too much wear and tear and tension and stress, Asia and them, they could come back like, hey, we're going to try our best, but we don't know if we got it this year. We don't know if we got it. I want to make a quick point to address a debate you had with Cassie and Gabe on an episode a few weeks ago about the most important guard on Atlanta. Couldn't make up my mind when I was watching the conversation. I was mostly aligned with you because we've been really aligned on Ryan Howard and how important she is and just how talented she is.
Yeah.
But I've watched the games I've watched Atlanta since then. I've been trying to like make my decision, like really watch and decide who do I really think it is? Like, because they're all important, and you guys had a really good, just nuanced conversation, because we know they're all important. I officially believe that it's Alicia Gray. I think it's Alicia Gray, bro. And you know the main reason why? Her downhill transition, the way that she attacks the rim so much, it imbalances the defense. It puts the defense on their heels. She puts so much pressure on the defense. Now, Jordan Canada puts pressure on with her speed, obviously. Ryan Howard puts pressure on when she decides to go to the basket, but also with her three-point shooting, she puts pressure on. But none of them put pressure on in terms of those guards the way Alicia Gray does. She attacks the rim sometimes recklessly. Like, you know how you talk about Flaugier needs to slow down sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
The same thing could be said, the breakneck pace. Alicia Gray plays at a breakneck pace sometimes. She just goes. And she makes it work a lot. And she has really good finishing ability. She's strong. She's fast. She's long. Like, she gets to the basket. She's fast. Like, she's not Jordan Canada fast. Most people aren't. But she's fast with the ball. Like, she puts a lot of pressure, constantly pushing, going downhill, trying to create a 2-on-1, a 3-on-2, a transition opportunity. You don't see that as much from Ryan. So just that detail, as I've been watching them lately, I'm like, you know what Alicia does, plus Alicia gives you the 3-point shooting. So she gives you 3-level, right, scoring. So honestly, I think if Alicia Gray, and again, we've been aligned, like Ryan Howard, if she takes over, that's the scariest version of Atlanta. But man, if Alicia Gray is going, I think that's the best thing for them. If I had to pick who like, what's the best version of them in terms of which guard is like at their best, I think I'd be inclined to say Ryan, because I'm so high on her talent and her ability. But honestly, Alicia Gray, she brings a little more to the table, a little more diversity offensively. And I think she just puts a lot of pressure on defenses.
It's actually funny you say that, because I want to go just one more time back to the bubble. They're like, of all the big threes, I know we've talked about Minnesota having like the big four, and that's nuts that we're back to that with them.
Isn't it crazy? Yo, Atlanta to me has a big four. Indiana has a big three. Minnesota has a big four. New York has their big three. Vegas used to have their big four. It's just a big three now. Golden State and Washington and Dallas kind of trying to figure out, like, they kind of know who their one or two best players are, but there's not like a definitive big three yet. But it's interesting how many big threes and big
hierarchy
fours.
of three players in Washington, bro.
I mean, I know who Kiki, Sonia, Shakira. But do we think of that as a big three?
Yeah, that's like talent and superstardom wise are not there yet. I definitely hear what you're saying, but no, they're not not at that level.
Yeah, like I know who the three best players on the Valkyries are. Doesn't mean they're a big three.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I got you. It's funny, bro. When it comes to intra-team hierarchy, this is going to be a very important playoff run for Aaliyah Boston. I really think so. I really think so.
Oh,
I think because if you're looking at the Fever's road to the championship, that starts with a date with Angel in the draft.
Matchups.
That's a matchup you got to win. Then you're moving up to
got to win matchup.
Minnesota. That's a date with Natasha Howard. Got to win that matchup. And Fee, even depending on kind of how they set. So you got to win that matchup.
Sure.
And then if you make it to the finals, you're looking at most likely from that side of the bracket, either Asia and the Aces, who Aaliyah Boston always. I think Aaliyah
does a good job against Vegas.
I think of all the bigs, like of all the young up and coming bigs, like I think Aaliyah always does. She's the most consistent against Asia. Like makes her work the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, if it's New York, you've got Jonquel Jones. Like this is a great opportunity for Aaliyah Boston. I don't want to necessarily say like remind everyone why she was number one, but like we know what Caitlin's value is. Like that's no one's gonna argue what Caitlin brings to the table for Indiana. No one's going to argue, especially after these last 21, 22 games, whatever it is, what Kelsey Mitchell's value is to this team. Aaliyah Boston's been in and out a little bit, and she spent a lot of this season on a minute restriction. We haven't consistently seen Aaliyah play at the level we saw her play last year after Caitlin went down, or even before Caitlin went down. This is a great opportunity for Aaliyah to be like, hey, like this is a big three, and I am the third piece of this. And they're not winning anything without me because I neutralize the stuff that happens in the post. Like, I think this could be like her chance to be like, if you have any questions about why I'm here, what I bring to the table, this playoff run would be that.
Well, I think I think that's a great point and a great take. I think the Indiana front court is a story because Michaela Timpson has become a story, and their front court depth is something I've talked about from before the season. Maisha Hines-Allen, Monique Billings, Michaela Timpson. Michaela Timpson has won out between those three and has become like the primary power forward in that starting lineup. But her athleticism, what she brings to that lineup and to their system and to their style of play, talking about Michaela Timpson, it's a big story for Indiana and their front court. When you talk about Aaliyah Boston, their front court is a big story and their role players are a big story. I talked about that at the top of the season too, how Indiana will be defined and their championship expectations will be defined just as much by their role players, Sophie Cunningham, Monique Billings, Michaela Timpson, Raven Johnson, who has kind of found her way out of the lineup, but
Lexi Hall,
Ty Harris. And you see when they're at their best, it's not just the Caitlin, Kelsey, and Aaliyah show. It's not just the big three. All these other players, especially when you're two of your three best players in Caitlin and Kelsey. Caitlin impacts the game more beyond scoring, but like both of them are more offensively impacting the game, and all those extra little things that you need other people doing to help you win. That is what is going to make Indiana look like a championship team. And Michaela Timpson has been a big story for them, looking like they could be ready for that.
This is in response to your Big Four comment. Angel.
Jordan Canada. I consider Jordan Canada. And usually when I say big three or big four, it's usually like they're all stars, like legit star level or above, or like superstar. I don't know if I consider Jordan Canada like a, star level player, but just what she means to that team, I just can't help but loop her in. Like I consider her part of their big four.
I don't know how I minimized Caitlin just now. I think I actually just said a nice thing about Caitlin by
might have been, depending on the time. I don't know what the.
I think this is probably right when I first started talking about Aaliyah Boston being important. I forgot. I can't say nice things about people that aren't Caitlin Clark. All right. It's always fun to talk women's basketball, and it's even more fun to do it when we're live on Protect Our Queens with all of you. And I've got my guy Martin Soares here with me.
Yo, give me. Hold on. Give me a minute.
Do your
give
thing.
Me a minute.
Do your thing.
No, I'm not doing what you think I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
Just on Caitlin Clark. I just, you guys all exhaust me, including my co-host. So I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Jesus, guys, basketball is basketball.
Yeah.
The truth of it is, and I don't want to speak for Marcus. You can speak for yourself when I'm done. The truth is, Marcus probably doesn't like Caitlin's game that much. It's just the truth. Like, honestly, I don't think and it's fine. Like, you don't have to like someone's game. Marcus has said, Marcus understands what her value is and what she brings to the game. But everyone has their preference subjectively of just like whose game you like better than others based on tendencies and stuff. And so, but I will say most of you underestimate. I'll defend Marcus, and I'll also I have to put Marcus in check sometimes. But where I'll defend Marcus is a lot of you really don't, and I'll defend my guy Dan, who I've been fighting for my life in comments. I'm always in the comments on these videos talking to you guys, and you know I have to selectively respond to people who I think are worth responding to. But I just want you guys to realize that many of you may not understand truly how frustrating and exhausting it has been talking about Caitlin and dealing with people who are her fans or supporters or whatever, who are not ready to actually talk about the nuances of her game and just want to declare her as the best thing ever. And like, I'll defend Marcus and Dan because I know how frustrating that has been. I've dealt with it too. I've dealt with it. I've been up close and personal with it. I get it. I just want us all here on Protect Our Queens, co-hosts, guests, viewers included, to understand that Caitlin Clark is an outstanding basketball player. And when we talk about I just think sometimes we feel like we have to not criticize her, but like point out some of the flaws and things but I just want you guys to know that, like, I think when you see people like Marcus and Dan get very emotional and like start raising their voice and getting emotional and like passionate about talking about why they don't think Caitlin Clark is an MVP or will be first team all WNBA or will average 20 points a game in her rookie year. That and again, I try to talk to Marcus about this because we can't let like the frustrations of the idiots frustrate us too much into not being able to appreciate basketball. So I just want you guys to know that, like, when we talk about Caitlin or anyone on here, like, there's been a lot. We've been doing this podcast for a few years. You guys hear us say we welcome opinions, conversations. Like, basketball is a nuanced art form and thing. It's not black and white. It's not just this and that. You have to watch, and then it depends on how your eyes are built for people, for me or anyone to know, like, are you really watching what I'm watching? Are you really seeing what I'm seeing? And yeah, so I just want you guys to know, like, a lot of that, I don't think a lot of you may not understand how deep the frustration goes and how crazy these people are when you say anything about Caitlin. And so I just want to make sure we are not, like, I love talking about Caitlin because I enjoy her game. I enjoy the nuances of what's happening with her game, with the league, with new fans, with old fans. Like, I enjoy it, but I recognize that it can be frustrating for people. But I will always try to make sure that we have balance on this platform and on this podcast. And feel free to leave your comments and give your takes and your opinions. But we try to hang our hat on just keeping it respectful, keeping it knowledgeable, and keeping the emotion out of it. But I just want you guys to know, like, it can be very easy to get emotional and frustrated because of the kinds of stuff that we've been exposed to from people who call themselves basketball fans for the last few years. And you say one off thing about Caitlin and you're just supposed to worship the altar that she sits on and just no, like we can poke at her game just like we poke at anybody's game. But what we're not going to do is just roll our eyes every time we got to talk about Caitlin and ostracize the people. We're not going to give energy to to people and opinions and takes that don't matter and that come from a place of just pure ignorance and not just wanting to talk basketball. That's all I got.
That just about sums it up. I'm not a fan of Caitlin's game. I do want to make that. You're talking. I realize it does come off that way sometimes. I am not a fan of Caitlin's game. I marvel at Caitlin the way that everyone marvels at Caitlin, like the 45-10, the 37-10. She had like I marvel at all these things. And I can admit, like I don't like talking about Caitlin Clark, not because of the basketball, but because, like, in fact, every time Martin brings up Caitlin Clark, like in our prep, I'm like, oh God, like I don't know what I can say that's not gonna cause some sort of riot. You know what I mean? And I like for a little bit tried the Sherlock Hoops approach. So like I'm just not gonna talk about Caitlin at all. Like maybe that'll help, but like you can't get away from it either way. I would say fundamentally, I am not like a Caitlin fan, but I respect and acknowledge that like all she's done for the league. My position on Caitlin has been very consistent, and Martin kind of alluded to it. And
so you're hold on. You said you're a fan of, but you're not a fan. Can you break?
Oh yeah, like I enjoy watching Caitlin play basketball.
Okay.
But I am not like a
way
Caitlin Clark fan. Like I don't like
because before you said you're a fan. You said you were a fan.
My bad.
So I just wanted you to. Yeah, I want to make sure you clarify.
Yeah,
so I don't have to clarify for you in the comments.
I got you. I, much like most other people on the planet, I get excited to watch Fever basketball. Caitlin Clark is a reason why I get excited to watch Fever basketball. I am not a Caitlin Clark fan. Like Caitlin, my boy Bryce texted me the other day. He was like, "Are you guys going to talk about Caitlin Clark torching the sky?" I was like, I'm not moved that she had 37-10 against this guy. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it, but like not enough to come on here and be like, "Oh, did you see?" type of thing. My position on Caitlin, I think I've kind of taken this approach where like I see so many people who just are like, she's this, she's gonna be this, she's gonna be that, and I'm like, she's not there yet, and that's okay. And I am mature enough and aware enough to admit that a lot of my criticism of Caitlin does come off very harsh and aggressive because of the frustrations that come with. For me, it's like, and a lot of people experience this. It's like I can't say one nice thing about someone else without having to loop Caitlin in. You know what I mean? Like I have to say all these great things about Caitlin before I say, oh, by the way, she needs to be a better defender, or oh, by the way, she needs to improve her scoring, which she's done both of these things. She's done both of these things, and I'm able to admit that. It'd be like she has. Like I remember we had the conversation about like what made like was Caitlin or Kelsey the best player, and you were talking about it like it seems more like a scoring thing with me and less of like a player thing. And a part of that's true, but since we had that conversation, Caitlin's attempted more mid-range shots. She looked better in the mid-range, and she's like these things. Like I'm able to point out the improvements, but when all you see on Instagram or on Threads or on Twitter, from our perspective, as people who are like trying to be in the space to curate healthy conversations to have on here, if all you see when you open these apps is just a bunch of positives about Caitlin Clark, and it's like it's not like praise, it's like over adulation and over exaggeration. It's like we have to recognize that like the timeline gets real quiet when she's not playing like this, or the timeline is really quiet when someone else is having. I was in New York on Monday, coming back from the House of Highlight shoot. I did not know Angel Reese had 26 rebounds in a game. I did not know that because I opened my timeline and I saw like 2 posts about it. But when Caitlin had 37-10, it was all over the place. And that's not to compare those two. I'm just saying, like, I want us to be able to praise everybody for everything they do well, regardless of who it is or how you feel. And if I have to sit here and like be the bad guy sometimes, I've taken that approach. Martin doesn't like it too much because like it comes off as like aggressive.
I was the baddest guy in 2023. I was the main one. I did episodes on my podcast. I was on here. I was cooking people on other networks. Y'all turned me into the Caitlin Clark supporter because I had to bring it back to reality. Like, dude, we can't just keep talking about the same stuff when she's getting better at things and when she's still very good. She may not be what we may not agree with what other people say she is, but let's say what she is to us, which is if you're top 3 in points and assists, and you're pretty good.
Yeah,
you're worth
that is not easy.
You're worth celebrating at some level. We have celebrated Angel. We have criticized Angel. We have celebrated Asia. I've criticized it. I am a basketball analyst. I was a trainer. I was a player. I watch basketball and I analyze what I see as a former player. I have no agendas here. I'm not a fan of anyone. I'm a fan of everyone.
Yep.
That's just me. Just me. So just know that.
I have fan. Maybe that's my problem. I have fan. It's also very.
I told you that for years. You don't want to listen. I told you to get off the fandom train. It complicates things too much. It's too much stress, bro. Trust me.
You know what it'll take? Because you've actually this once before. This is the last thing, I swear. You've actually this once before, and I think I said to you, I don't know. I think my transition out of fandom in the WNBA will occur when Asia retires.
It probably will.
That's I'm literally only an Aces fan because of Asia. Like I don't know if I'm.
That's what happened for me when Kobe passed away. That really did it. I mean, when he retired, like that, I had no more reasons to root for the Lakers anymore. But when he passed away, that really changed my whole mentality on fandom support and team support. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm supporting everybody. I'm gonna critique everybody. I'm a fan of everyone. I love everyone's game.
Yeah. Look, again, I will say this too. I appreciate all of you guys, obviously, for watching and tapping in every single week. The regulars, the people who are not regular, like first timers, whatever. We genuinely appreciate you guys for sitting up here and listening to us talk basketball. But more important than that, I want to say I appreciate my co-host for being. He's the calmer of the two. Like he's obviously the older brother of the duo here, not just like literally, but like you can see it. You can see the vibes. I just appreciate the patience he has with me because I'm like the prep. I'd be snapping sometimes. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do it, but we do it for you guys because you love it. We love it. As he mentioned, we've been doing this for almost 3 years in September. And it's been a hell of a ride every step of the way. We're going to continue to do it. The postseason's right around the corner. There's so much more women's basketball because we don't stop when the WNBA stops. College is right around the corner, and we are pumped. This is a year-round operation here at Protect Our Queen. So make sure to subscribe to Basketball Society so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, by the way, if you haven't already, an exceptional film breakdown of Paige Becker's pull-up jump shot. The film was curated by our guy, Dan Thompson. Dan and Martin got on here and broke it down bit by bit, dribble by dribble. Make sure you check that out as well. And there's a Kelsey Mitchell one on the way as well. So stay tuned for that. So for my guy, Martin Sories, I am Dwayne Marcus of Protect Our Queens signing off. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, go enjoy yourselves some women's basketball.